So I did this until June 9th of 2009. That's the last time I've had any tobacco that isn't an e-cigarette. Right, so June 9th, 2009, I got my first e-cigarette. I was really excited. I get kind of compulsive about these things. And then over the next couple of years, I built up a really good system. And I got all into all of the mechanics and the little things. And to a lot of people with a lot of different experiences, this might sound familiar, right? Like having all of these little systems and these ways and these routines. And it was really apparent to me that my relationship to nicotine was a lot like people's relationship to other substances, but it was much easier to justify. And then a couple of things happened. I was picking up my son from daycare, and I had this giant e-cigarette, with 72 milligrams per milliliter nicotine solution in it, and it fell out of my front pocket at a daycare. And then I was driving down the road, and I realized I didn't have it, which always, is this moment of panic. I don't have my thing. So I drive back to get it, and the look on the daycare provider's face of, I believe you forgot this, right? And I'm like, I'm that scumbag. I'm the guy who just killed someone else's 2-year-old because I gotta have my e-cigarette. And in the early days it was great because you could use them on planes, you could use them on buses, and people even noticed. You just got to tell them about this amazing new thing that, I don't think that's going to be the case much longer. It already isn't. And so about 10 months ago, I just tried the cold turkey method. I waited till my family, my partner, my child, were not in Michigan, and I just stopped. And I'll just tell you really quickly that and I was telling Russ this before, the webbing between my toes, I couldn't get it to relax. I had managed to live my entire life without knowing I had webbing between my toes, but it was like it was crawling, and I was laying there in bed. And then within a couple days of quitting, all of the crawling went away. And I had this is the last thing I'll say, I'm sorry. I had a 20-year problem with insomnia. I mean, I've taken at various points every benzodiazepine analog, tricyclic antidepressants, atypical antidepressants that have sedative effects, antipsychotics, everything you can possibly, just Benadryl to try and sleep. And I've never been able to sleep. And when I quit nicotine, within a month, a 20-year problem with insomnia disappeared. My resting pulse rate dropped by over 20 beats a minute. And I didn't get healthier in that first month. I gained 25 pounds pure Mike and Ike's, right? Like every time I wanted a cigarette, I ate a big box of Mike and Ike's. And I wanted cigarettes a lot. So I wasn't getting healthier, but the countervailing force of not being dependent on nicotine improved sort of overall wellness so much that when I decided to stop eating the Mike and Ike's, it was relatively easy. And the sleep thing is amazing. I spoke to a doctor, to a sleep, that, for 20 years I was dependent on nicotine. Maybe I'm really sensitive to nicotine. Maybe it really works for me.